So today I've decided to ruin my mental health and I want you to witness my crazy journey. And I've decided to read this book because I really missed reading a really good horror slash thriller book. I think the last best horror which I read, I would say, is The Shining by Stephen King, and I made a whole vlog out of it. And a few months back when I read We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson, I felt that I found my next favorite author for this genre, which is Shirley Jackson, and I thought reading The Haunting of Hill House will give me the same feelings and the same kind of experience which I had while reading The Shining by Stephen King. And I want to keep this vlog as a non-spoiler reading vlog because I don't want to spoil anything, because giving any spoilers for thriller or horror books would ruin your experience obviously. So the best part of selecting this book is that even Stephen King has praised this book. He says stepping into Hill House is like stepping into the mind of a madman, and as nearly perfect a haunted house tale as I have ever read. Coming this from Stephen King, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna love this book. Let's see if it's going to live up to the hype. So I'm back with the first update of this book, and I've read around 33 pages. That is only the first chapter of this book. This book is actually divided into 9 chapters, and I read the first chapter alone. And also I wrote a summary for the first chapter. So as I want this book to be a non-spoiler vlog, I don't want to talk about this book in detail, but still I just want to give a small summary about the story so far. So in this story, we follow a doctor who wants to conduct these supernatural experiments along with people who had some experiences with supernatural in the past. So he writes letters and invites them to this to this Hill House. So this is the place he invites them. The first chapter, we follow one of the 4 people, and it is Eleanor. The main part of the first chapter focuses on her past and her journey to the Hill House. She accepts the letter, like the invitation, and she takes her car and she goes there. So while she's traveling to the Hill House, we get some glimpses about her past and her family. In this journey, when she's going to the Hill House, she gets these odd feelings like she is not supposed to go there, or there is something bad over there. And yet to escape her family, she wanted to go to some other place and just stay stress free for a few days, and hence she goes there and she enters Hill House with a lot of difficulty. Last line of the first chapter is actually haunting. So she enters the Hill House and she first time sees the Hill House, and this is what she thinks to herself. She shivered and thought the words coming freely into her mind. Hill House is a vile, it is diseased, get away from here at once. So this is her first thoughts that she gets when she sees the Hill House, and that is how the first chapter also ends. And I literally don't want to stop reading. It is super addictive. Like, the writing style is so simple and engaging. I can't believe that this book is a century old because it feels so modern. Maybe that is why it is a classic. The only reason I paused reading is to give a review to you guys, like to just update my progress. I think the doctor is finally about to say the past of the haunting of Hill House, and I'm not ready for this. I'm just scared to hear what and all has happened, and I hope it's not too gruesome. I mean, I am reading the book, but I thought it's going to be like the series, The Haunting of the Hill House. I actually watched it a few months back, but it's nothing like that so far. And I'm not even sure if the story is about a ghost or supernatural being or any demon, or if it's just about your fears. Like, it's super confusing so far, but nevertheless, it is very interesting, and I really want to know what is going to happen next. I wouldn't say it's scary, but it does make you think, and it does make you turn back and check if anyone else is peeping at you. And I feel this book is definitely the blueprint for many of the modern horror films right now, because the modern films feel so relevant to the book which she has written, like the horror, the kind of things, and the scenes and everything, the ambience, the atmosphere. Like, she is a genius. As I said in the starting, that the book was told through Eleanor's POV, like in the first chapter, and that is how the whole story was continuing. Like, I was seeing everything through Eleanor's POV, and I'm not here to give any spoilers, but for the first 50% of the book, you will keep knowing more about the house and about the people living there, and the history of the house, the owners of the house, how they built it, everything. Like, the people who built it actually are super crazy. Backstory of this house was actually scary, and after we hear about the backstory, that is when creepy things start happening, like a literal horror film. Like, there are unexplained noises, doors banging, house moving, or you feel like someone is there in the house with you. And the author doesn't give any explanation for this, so that is why I'm still not sure if this is a ghost story or is it just a psychological horror. Like, if it is only happening in Eleanor's head, I'm like literally confused. Like, the story becomes more fascinating when you learn more about Eleanor's POV. Like, everything she interprets that's happening in the house, she's super dramatic about it, so you don't know if she's like overestimating and overselling it, or if it is actually happening in the house. Kind of like unreliable narrator, but only if she's lying, so I can't tell that until I finish this book. The only thing I know for sure is that Eleanor is becoming super connected to this house, so the relationship between her and the house is actually more scary than the ghost actually being there. You can actually feel Eleanor becoming mentally unstable. This reminds me of Jack from The Shining by Stephen King. I feel like how the hotel was trying to change Jack, this house is trying to change Eleanor. Maybe Shining is inspired loosely from the story, I'm not sure, but they feel kind of similar. Sometimes I'm scared for Eleanor and sometimes I'm scared because of Eleanor, so it is like a roller coaster experience, but it's definitely worth it till now. And some parts of this book actually feels kind of slow paced, but even though it's slow, the writing is actually lyrical, so you don't feel that bored. But definitely it is slow, it is not as fast paced as Shining. I don't know why I keep comparing it to that book, but yeah, that is the only horror book I've read, so I need to finish only the last two chapters. We are almost at the ending, I just have two chapters left. And I just have 2 pages left, and I know I'm not ready for the ending. I know it's already going to be sad, and I know I can't read it, but we have to get through this. So I finally finished the book, and I'm here with a few updates. I just wanted to create this gothic and scary kind of vibe, and I thought this will work. I hope it does work, but yeah, nevertheless, let's get to the ending. So I finally finished the book, and oh my god, what an experience was reading this book. But I can tell you one thing, that the ending of this book made me feel very different about the whole book. So going into this book, I thought it was going to be a classic haunted house book, but it was not. Even after you finish reading this book, you are still confused if this is a paranormal activity, or is there any real ghost in this book, or is it all just made up in Eleanor's head, or you don't even know what's happening. And at the end, you won't even care, like, even if there's not a clear explanation for this. I think Shirley Jackson is really a genius. Even in We Have Always Lived in a Castle, her writing was great, and even in this book. And I never thought I would say this, but I actually felt very sad after finishing a horror story, and I thought that would not be possible, but Shirley Jackson made me feel that. I think Shirley Jackson is incredibly clever, because once you read and finish this book, I think each one of you will have very different interpretation of what the ending might have been. Like, one might read this as a supernatural story, or one might read this as a psychological horror. If you ask me, I think more of the story as a psychological horror, like a psychological breakdown of our main character Eleanor, and it was done perfectly. And I think the core element of this book is loneliness, and not, necessarily a real ghost and the backstory of it. Like, you won't find a real ghost story if that is what you want, thinking like, okay, there's going to be a ghost ghost and we'll know why that the ghost is haunting this place and what would be the backstory of it and how are we going to win over the ghost. No, nothing like that happens. It is completely different. And my only advice is to go into this book without expecting anything, without reading anything about it, or even trying to understand what it is about. Like, you will definitely enjoy it if you are the horror kind of person and you're okay with, this open interpretations. And if that is the kind of horror you want, then this will definitely be a 5-star read for you. And coming to the Haunting of the Hill House series, it is nothing similar to the book except the names of the characters and the essence of the Hill House, but they've completely changed everything. And I also came to know that there is a film adaptation of this exact story called A Haunting, and I think it was released in 1963 or something, and I really want to go and watch that tonight. I'm super curious how they made the adaptation, and I hope they stick to the book, because I think if they try to change anything or over-explain the book or the horror part, it's definitely going to ruin the experience. Whatever Shirley Jackson did was actually really enough for the story. So this is not actually a spoiler. Let me just read what Shirley Jackson wrote at the last page about the Hill House. Hill House itself, not sane, stood against its hills, holding darkness within. It has stood so for 80 years and might stand for 80 more. Within its walls continued upright, bricks met nearly, floors were firm, and doors were sensibly shut. Silence lay steadily against the wood and stone of Hill House, and whatever walked there walked alone. Like, this is so creepy. Like, I don't know, like, you have to read this. And also, the people who have already read this book, let me know in the comments what you thought about this book and what interpretation you had, without giving any real spoilers for people who have not read the book yet. So now I think it's safe to say that Shirley Jackson is one of my favorite author for horror, apart from Stephen King. Before leaving, do check my reading vlog of The Shining. That is also a non-spoiler vlog where I experience things way worse than this book. So if you're interested in that, go check that out.